Thank you so much for welcoming me here into your beautiful land, into your hearts, and hopefully into your minds today as well. So I'm here to inspire you for the next couple of days to transform into time travelers. Yes, you heard me right. I said time travelers. I want you all to imagine and envision a future, and I want you to reach out and learn how to pull that future towards you. Because we're living in absolutely amazing times. Don't you all feel that? We're living at a time where scientific innovations, technological breakthroughs are converging to solve some of humanity's biggest challenges. And here's the best part of it all. It's not some billionaire club or some intelligentsia that is working in secret on all of this. No, these breakthroughs are coming up from people like you and I, from ordinary people from all around the world. Because today, in the world we live in today, we hold this power in our hands to pull this amazing future forward. So I'm the Chief Impact Officer at the XPRIZE Foundation, and we're an innovation accelerator. And what we believe is that if you want to have people work on groundbreaking innovation, the kinds of innovation that actually change the trajectory of humanity, that you cannot expect these people to just work on this kind of innovation in their spare time, in their garages, over the weekends, after their long work days. That if you want this kind of innovation, you have to incentivize people to work on this. We also believe that there's only three things that really incentivize people. One is money, because nothing gets done without it, right? The second is if you're an innovator, like many of you are, and an entrepreneur, the chance to be first in a new industry, right? And then the third and the biggest incentive of all, and our teams from around the world tell us this all the time, is the chance to do something that will change the life of somebody else, to do some good in the world. As human beings, we are built that way, right? We have altruism all running through our DNA. So at XPRIZE, we put together these large-scale innovation competitions where we design a future state. And we design the technical parameters that will need to be achieved. And then innovators from around the world, from many countries, including New Zealand, innovate to come up with groundbreaking ideas. As futurists, we work in the future of food, the future of space travel. Many of you might know us from our first XPRIZE, the Ansari XPRIZE, that opened up commercial space flight. We work in almost all sectors, from the future of medicine, the future of water, and of course, my favorite, the future of well-being for our planet. So again, as we talk today about the pull of the future, we need to pull this future towards us. The truth is, most of us don't do this every day. What we really do is we allow ourselves to be pushed towards the future. And what's pushing us towards the future? Multiple trends like some of the ones you see on the screen up here. And if you come to my little 45-minute workshop, I'm going to show you about 30 new trends beyond these that are pushing us, whether we like it or not. They're carrying us towards the future of happenstance design or somebody else's design. I want you all to think about changing that. Right? The future isn't at a place that you just imagine and it's beautiful and it's idealistic. We have to create it. And the only way to pull that future is if you create it collectively. And that's what these next 2 days is going to be about. That's what your action items are going to be about when you leave this conference. That's what my true hope is, that I can inspire you and all the other speakers can inspire you to do today. So here are some of the trends, right? We know that the population is exploding and we're going to be at almost 10 billion people by 2050. But these people are not going to be living in this idealistic world that we imagine the future to be. No, they're going to be living in megacities. This is my city, a mega city. Mumbai, 20 million people, and 70% of the city is still living in shanty towns and slums. This is what the happenstance future looks like. This is what an uncreated future looks like. This is the push of the future. We have to change that. And we all know about massive automation taking 800 million jobs, right, by the year 2030. But what if we turned all of that on its head and we created completely new industries and completely new ways of thinking and doing things? And again, what if we used our land and our oceans so much better to produce all the food that we need instead of business as usual, we're decimating the lungs of our world? And yes, we all want to see food from all around the world. We are all now migrating to different countries, and we're taking our cultures and our foods with us and demanding fresh produce in markets as with the rise of the next billion in the middle class in Asia. But we are still not focusing on the 33% of food that is actually lost every single year. And we talk about the future where our kitchens will teach us how to be healthy, right? You'll know exactly what to eat for your body type, for your genotype. However, the truth is, the future that's we're being pushed to still has tremendous amount of obesity. 2 billion people on our planet today obese, and 800 million still starving. Climate change is real. We know that. It's affecting the way we eat, the way we grow, the way we transport food. It's going to be the biggest conversation we will all be having within the next 5 to 10 years. And yet, living in a developed country, I live in the US, you live in New Zealand, each one of us still consumes, this is terrifying, close to 1 ton of food every single year. So the big, big question remains, and that's your challenge today. How are we going to nourish, not just feed, but how are we going to nourish 9.6 billion people by the year 2050 and keep our lands and our oceans in balance at the same time? Well, the good part is that the answer is actually in your hands. You have the answer and you can actually take action. But what it's going to take is it's going to take a lot of moonshots. You all understand what a moonshot is, right? A big, audacious vision, a big, audacious action that is actually achievable. It's going to have us all pool our collective resources, our intelligence together, and take a multitude of moonshots. But moonshots aren't it. We also need what I call slingshots. I want to describe a slingshot because there's a lot of people in this room who are taking slingshots every single day. And a slingshot comes from slingshot theory in mathematics, where you use the current trends, like I described earlier, the push towards the future. You leverage those trends and you push your innovation and your idea ahead. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the 4 or 5 things I've learned over my career on how to take a real moonshot. The first one is you have to shift your mindset. This one, frankly, is the most difficult because not only do you have to shift your mindset, you have to shift the mindset of the people working with you and your consumers, your customers as well, right? So I want you to think about this. As a human race and as biological beings, we had our last upgrade 50,000 years ago. That's when our last tiny little evolutionary event occurred. We are the same beings that we were 50,000 years old, presenting with the same flaws, with the same fears every single day. However, we don't live in a world that is that slow or old anymore. Absolutely not. Our brains have not had an upgrade in 50,000 years, but you've got to somehow jumpstart your brain, shock your brain, change your mindset into getting that kind of an upgrade. And the easiest way that I've learned how to do it, and how we do it at XPRIZE with my teams who design these prizes, is we adopt a mindset of abundance. What does that mean? We as human beings are programmed with a mindset of scarcity. We always think, hey, it's not going to be enough money, and people aren't going to buy this, and oh, nobody's going to do that, right? We're naysayers, that little voice inside our head, right? That's constantly saying, nope, can't be done. And the world around you will also tell you that every day, nope, can't be done. But you have to turn that voice around. You have to adopt a mindset of abundance. I'll give you an example. So what I've been hearing a lot in New Zealand is about how the future for agriculture, that you all want to be the premier growers to feed the top 40 million people on this planet with very, very high quality and value of food. Well, that's not a moonshot. It might seem like one right now, but it's really not, guys. What about feeding 4 billion people, the next 4 billion people on our planet, with very, very high quality and high value food? And doing it in a way that doesn't create more devastation or more of a footprint on your land and your waters and your ocean. Well, that kind of sounds pie in the sky. I can hear all your little voices in your head all the way up here saying, yes, sure, it's nice to say from stage, but it can't really be done. Yes, it can, but it won't be easy. And here's the second thing that I've learned. When you want to take a real moonshot, you have to harness the power of exponential technologies. And these technologies are converging at this amazing pace right now. And we're seeing this all across the food value chain. And there's so many people in the audience today, and people you're going to hear from over the next 2 days, who are leveraging some of these technologies to really make a difference. But it's the convergence of these technologies that has this incredible power. And I'm not going to go into details here because you're going to see this and hear from speakers who are working on production in completely different ways, harnessing the power of exponentials, working at distribution in completely different ways, and also consumption. So all around the food value chain, you're seeing these technologies converge. It is using the convergence of these technologies that is going to allow you to feed 4 billion people across the planet with very, very high quality New Zealand foods and earn an extremely good living while you're doing it. This is the power of the future, but you have to pull that future towards you, because where it's going now, I think we already know, right? So it's time for a moonshot. The third thing that we do at XPRIZE a lot to help us design these moonshots, and I really encourage you to use some of these tools, is you look to science fiction. We call it transforming science fiction into science reality at XPRIZE. And we have a lot of our prizes and a lot of our innovation design is actually inspired by science fiction. And why science fiction? It kind of sounds cool. No, not really. It's not because of that. We do it because in science fiction, what happens is it allows you to place your product, or it allows you to place your services way out into the future. And guess what? Those same people that you're going to be designing something for 30 years from now, they're going to have that same 50,000-year-old biology. They're going to be very much like you and I are today. And it's about how they will accept your product. What kind of policies are you going to need for certain transformation or change to happen? What kind of new social norming might have to take place or might influence your product in the future? Science fiction allows you to do that. It allows you to transport and create and manifest a future and look at all the other tangential issues that you will need to address. So again, science fiction has always been a great inspiration for us. And every single spacefaring movie or book always has these amazing kind of prototypes of these farms for the future that we will have, which are not very different from the designs of some of our urban and vertical farms that we are seeing come up in different places like Singapore today. But as we look to the future, it's very important to also look to the past. A lot of us come from very ancient traditions, and food is a real big part of our culture. Food is a really big part of our spiritual beliefs. And there's a reason for certain combinations of foods that were eaten at certain times of the year or when a mother was pregnant. There was a reason why that happened. There was a reason why those myths propagated, because there was actual chemistry and science that our ancestors knew without calling it those words. So again, as you look out way into the future, create that pull. Also remember to learn the best from the past as you move forward and move ahead. And then my big favorite, of course, is biomimicry. We have to learn from the earth. Every time we try to solve a problem at XPRIZE, we go, wait a minute, how did our planet do this? Because we've had 4.5 billion years of prototyping that's been going on all around us. Surely, our forests that are 400 million years old, when first trees emerged, you have some of the most ancient, beautiful forests right here in New Zealand. Surely, our planet has solved something like cowrie dieback disease before. Surely there's a lesson, there's an analogy here that we can learn from and we can adopt and change and pull a new future towards us instead of allowing this tsunami of this push with trends to push us towards a future we really don't want. And last of all, it's most important when you're designing your moonshots, your slingshots, your innovations, to keep people in the center of the change that you are seeking, right? Because it is us, again, with all of our flaws, all of our stupidity, all of our closed-mindedness, we're going to present with all of those things, as well as with all of our human capacity for compassion and joy and love, a lot like what you all have seen pouring out of this city over the last few weeks. So again, keeping people in the middle of this change, because they're the ones who are going to adopt it, is extremely, extremely critical. Because this is the future. We are going here. I don't know how many of you believe that. I do. In our lifetime, I wish I get to go, but I probably won't. I'll be too old. But we're going to Mars. We're going to start exploring the bodies of our near solar system. But shouldn't we first learn how to take care of our Earth better? And because you all know this, right? That nobody is coming to give you the answers. There's nobody flying in, nobody time traveling from an ancient civilization, nobody coming to save our Earth, to save our day, to save our industries, to save our jobs. No, it's just you, right? And so that's that old adage, if not you, then who? And if not now, then when? So I encourage you all to think about what is your moonshot and go out with great courage and take it. Thank you very, very much for having me here today. Thank you.